Young ladies and gentlemen, good evening once again, good evening to all. You are once again welcome here on your beloved platform, the platform for awakening consciousness. This is the headline of international news. Today is March 27, 2025. This date, which was chosen by Emmanuel Macron to convene a war council Paris, to ensure that European leaders and NATO leaders are meeting to make very serious, very strict decisions regarding Vladimir Putin's Russia concerning how to handle the ongoing negotiations initiated by the United States of America. And knowing that these negotiations are progressing haltingly, as I like to say, with underlying issues that remain unnamed. And so, the joint statement, we will have the opportunity to analyze it, but what primarily draws the world's attention on this March 27, 2025, is the statement by the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, in Paris. A statement in which he points an accusatory finger at the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin. So, what did Keir Starmer say? Keir Starmer's remarks are such that they call into question the efforts currently being made to move towards peace. That's what needs to be taken away from the situation. But the Europeans think differently. Ladies and gentlemen, in the context of this video conference, this is the situation we are going to discuss. The news this evening will revolve around this famous summit on which France has really relied heavily and Europe has placed a lot of hope. So thank you for sharing the video conference as widely as possible in all possible groups. Share it as much as you can. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here and give it lots of likes. So, Keir Starmer accused Vladimir Putin of manipulating and buying time. He says that Putin is manipulating to buy time. He made this statement following the fact that the Russian President, Vladimir Putin, demanded the lifting of sanctions. Whether they are European sanctions or Western sanctions, he demanded the lifting of these sanctions before the implementation of the maritime ceasefire with Ukraine. So, what does that mean? Vladimir Putin said that a ceasefire would be implemented. But before that, I have already shown my goodwill. The sanctions against Russia must be lifted. This is one of Vladimir Putin's conditions. We had agreed to that. It's completely normal. If he wanted to move towards peace, the sanctions must be lifted. He too will lift his safeguards. But what's happening is that Putin has already agreed to implement the ceasefire in the context of energy attacks, at least in certain areas. But regarding the implementation of the ceasefire in the Black Sea, he wants the sanctions to be lifted. Why? Because in the Black Sea, it's a corridor. If we proceed with the ceasefire, the implementation of the ceasefire in the Black Sea, this will automatically lead to the passage of grains. In any case, all these Ukrainian exports, they will pass without any problem. Money. Meanwhile, Russia continues to remain under the yoke of Western sanctions. So, it needs to be a win-win situation. If they too must exploit the Black Sea without Russia touching them, then the sanctions on Russia should also be lifted. This is the mindset that the Europeans do not understand and do not want. Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, is completely against this idea. But please share this video conference. Share it as much as possible. I really want it to be shared. He says this. Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, he says that it is not the time to lift or weaken the sanctions against Russia. He says that it is time to strengthen them. Sanctions need to be strengthened to put them on the table. Because he believes that if the sanctions are strengthened, it will have an impact on Russia. And so, thanks to these sanctions, they will have these sanctions as a tool that will enable them on the negotiation table to lay out, to hammer out, and to exchange this tool against certain demands of Vladimir Putin. If Vladimir Putin wants to stall on one of these conditions, someone tells him, well, you want us to agree? Yes. We will agree to lift the sanctions, but on the condition that you also agree to concede such. But if, according to the Europeans, if, according to what Starmer is, I was going to say, if they lift the sanctions, they will have nothing in hand to bring to the negotiation table. That's why they would like to strengthen them, by the way. There you go. They need to be put on red alert. So, Kate Starmer, British Prime Minister, she stated that she had agreed with her present partners, at this Paris summit, which hosted representatives from 30 countries. This summit hosted representatives from 30 countries, as well as from the European Union and Nato. So mixed, representing NATO and the European Union, the representative among 30 countries. He says that we must go further to support what Tsar Morse is, who is speaking. He says that we must go further to support Ukraine, to support the peace process, support Ukraine, and increase pressure on Russia to take serious measures. So, for now, they think that Russia is not taking serious measures. They should support Russia, or at least support Ukraine in its peace process. They should ensure to increase the pressure on Russia, so that Russia takes serious measures, while Russia is already taking very serious measures. And that involves increasing economic pressure on Russia, accelerating the tightening of sanctions, reducing Russia's energy revenues, and working together to make this pressure effective. You understand? The idea that drives. Kate Starmer wants us to increase things. So, Kate Starmer stated that the political climate in favor of a just and lasting peace in Ukraine was stronger and broader than ever. As much as ever. He says that the political climate in favor of a just and lasting peace in Ukraine was stronger and broader than ever before. He added that Europe as a whole had not been as strong and united for a long time. We agree with him. Europe has never been so strong and united. But because we have a situation ahead, we must unite to bring down the Russian giant, while pretending to support Ukraine. We must unite since the American ally is preparing to dispose of its Western allies, in any case, according to what we are observing. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is the essence of international news. We will return shortly to the continuation of this news, as many things have happened on this March 27th. 2001, in Paris. It should be noted that this summit was highly sought after. And there, we have just touched on the statement of only one party, one participant. We will return shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you for sharing the video conference as much as possible. I will be back shortly with new updates. This was the voice of your one and only Samurai.